You know, when you think about your ears, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Hearing, right? Of course. But what if I told you that's only about half the story? So let's get into it, because deep inside your ears are these incredible, complex structures that do so much more than just pick up sound.
Okay, so I gotta ask you, do your ears have a secret superpower? The answer? Oh, it's a huge yes. And it's one you're using every single second of every day, probably without ever thinking about it.
All right, let's pull back the curtain on these hidden functions. Tucked away deep inside your inner ear are these microscopic architects, and their job is to manage your balance and your orientation. I mean, these things are the only reason you're not, toppling out of your chair right now. Seriously, without them, just standing still would be a massive challenge.
But before we get to the secret stuff, we gotta cover the basics, right? Let's take a quick look at that incredible journey of sound. We need to understand how the part we all know, hearing, actually works before we can really appreciate the ear's other, more mysterious job.
Okay, so it all kicks off with a simple sound wave. The part of your ear you can see, the outer ear, basically acts like a funnel, grabbing those waves and shooting them down the ear canal. They hit the eardrum, making it vibrate. Then, those vibrations get amplified by 3 of the tiniest bones in your entire body. Pretty wild, huh? But here's where the real magic happens. The vibrations move into this spiral-shaped, fluid-filled thing called the cochlea, and inside, thousands of tiny hair cells start to dance with the vibrations, turning all that physical motion into electrical signals. Those signals finally zip up to the brain, which says, "Aha, that's music," or "That's my friend's voice." It's just a beautiful mix of mechanics and electricity.
Yeah, a pretty amazing process, right?
But, like I said, that's only half the story.
All right, time for the big reveal. Your ear isn't just a microphone. Nope, it's your body's own personal, super advanced navigation system.
And this system, it's got a name. It's called the vestibular system. Its entire job is to keep you upright, stable, and aware of where your head is in space, so you can move through the world without falling flat on your face. Basically, you can think of it as your body's own built-in gyroscope. So your inner GPS has a few key components. First up, you've got these 3 loopy things called semicircular canals, and we'll circle back to those in a sec. Then you've got 2 little pockets called otolith organs, and they detect straight line motion, moving forward, backward, or that feeling you get in an elevator. And just like with hearing, this whole setup is filled with fluid and lined with tiny sensory hair cells that send all the info to your brain. Okay, get this. Each of those 3 canals is set up on a totally different axis. One of them is all about detecting the yes nod. Another one handles the no head shake. And the third one, it takes care of that side-to-side head tilt. It's brilliant. Together, they create this perfect 3D motion sensor just for your head's rotation. So how does it all work? Well, it's actually kind of beautifully simple. When you move your head, the fluid inside these canals sloshes around. That movement bends those little sensory hairs, and the direction they bend in tells your brain exactly which way you're moving and how fast. It's this constant, real-time feedback loop happening inside your head. So what you've got here are these 2 powerhouses, hearing and balance, and they're literally working side by side. And that's the really important part. They're partners, sharing this tiny, super delicate space in your inner ear.
I like to think of it this way. They're living in the same really fragile neighborhood. And you know how it is. When something goes down on one side of the street, it can definitely mess things up for the other side. This tight space is exactly why a problem in the inner ear can cause such a wide range of issues.
And when that little neighborhood gets disrupted, maybe by an infection or a condition like Meniere's disease, well, that's when you start seeing symptoms that hit both systems. Things like dizziness or that awful spinning feeling of vertigo. Those are classic balance problems. But it's not uncommon for hearing loss to happen right alongside them, and it all traces back to that one shared space. Okay, here's a perfect example, something I bet every single one of us has felt. You spin around in a chair, you stop suddenly, and the world keeps spinning. Why? Well, it's because the fluid in those canals is still sloshing. It's screaming to your brain, hey, we're still moving, but your eyes are looking around going, nope, we've stopped. That conflict, that's what dizziness is. So, given how incredibly important and honestly how delicate this whole setup is, how do we project it? Think of this as the user's manual for keeping both of those superpowers in top shape.
And you know what? The advice here is actually pretty straightforward. First things first, protect your ears from loud noise. That means wearing earplugs at concerts or if you work around loud machinery.
Keep them clean, sure, but gently, and don't ever stick anything deep inside your ear canal. And this is a big one. If you have dizziness that won't go away or you notice changes in your hearing, get it checked out. That's your body's check engine light for this really important system.
So if there's just one thing you take away from all this, let it be this. Your ears are so much more than just sound collectors. They are your body's constant, quiet navigator, helping you listen to the world while also helping you move through it safely.
And that kind of leaves me with one last question for you to chew on. Think about it. Whether it's the simple act of walking down the street, dancing to your favorite song, or just tilting your head back to look at the stars, what movement are you most grateful your body can make, all thanks to this hidden superpower?